Welcome to my podcast. In this Armchair GM, I will be the Armchair GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks. I will first be the Armchair GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins, then I will be the Armchair GM for the San Jose Sharks. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a team that is already a very good team, but they need to replace some players. The biggest issue with the Penguins is that they don't have any cap room left. So they do need to make some trades in order to free up some cap room. This is what I would do if I was Armchair GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But first, let's take a look at the UFAs and RFAs for the Penguins. The key UFAs are Ben Lovejoy, Matt Cullen, and Jeff Sackhoff. The key RFAs are Justin Schultz and Bew Bennett. The first move, if I were the Pittsburgh Penguins GM, is trying to trade Patrick Hornqvist. The reason why I would trade Hornqvist is because not that he's not a good player, it's that you can find a more fitting player to play alongside Sidney Crosby, and that he is not as productive as he was in Nashville. Also, he is getting paid too much for what he can offer to the team. So I would trade Hornqvist to the Boston Bruins in exchange for Jamie Hayes and a second-round pick in 2018. The Boston Bruins would be a great fit for Patrick Hornqvist because they need a top six right winger, as they're going to lose Louis Eriksson, and they will also lose Lee Stepniak. So their top six right wingers will be pretty depleted. Since the free agent market for goaltenders are really weak this year, this is your best opportunity to trade Marc-Andre Fleury. Now you have your young goaltender of the future in Matt Murray, and you have a really good top-tier goaltender prospect in Tristan Jarry in the system, ready to come up and support Matt Murray as a backup role. Or you can go up and sign a backup goalie. Trading Marc-Andre Fleury is probably your best option to protect yourself from losing him for absolutely nothing in the expansion draft. Marc-Andre Fleury is a good regular season goalie, and he's got his act together in the postseason as well the past 2 years. The only reason why you're trading him is to protect yourself from losing him for absolutely nothing in the expansion draft, like I said before. So I would trade him to the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for Andre Pavalec, Ben Chiarot, and the first-round pick in 2016 that the Jets got from Chicago in the Winnipeg, Chicago's Andrew Ladd trade, and a fourth-round pick in 2017. This makes sense for both teams because the Jets need a number one goalie, and the Penguins need a backup goalie and some depth on defense. Next, I would re-sign Ben Lovejoy to a 3-year deal worth $2 million per season. Now, understand Ben Lovejoy can get a new contract in free agency, but playing in Pittsburgh gives him the best opportunity to win another cup. It really depends on if he wants to win or if he wants to make more money. These are the players that the Penguins will add after it's all said and done. Jamie Hayes, Andre Pavalec, and Ben Chiarot. They would have lost Marc-Andre Fleury, Patrick Hornqvist, Justin Schultz, Bew Bennett, Jeff Sackhoff, and Matt Cullen. This is how the roster will look like after all the shakeups. First line would be Connor Sheary, Sidney Crosby, and Jamie Hayes. The second line will be Hagelin-Bonino-Kessel. The third line will be Chris Kunitz, Evgeny Malkin, Brian Rust. The fourth line will be Tommy Kuhnackl, Sundqvist, and Eric Fehr. The first defensive pair is going to be Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang. The second defensive pair is Trevor Daley and Sheary-Crosby-Hayes. The third defensive pair is Ben Lovejoy and Marleau-Couture-Donskoi. And the seventh defenseman is Ian Cole. The goaltenders are Matt Murray and Andre Pavalec. So that's my armchair GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, on to the armchair GM for the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks made it to the Stanley Cup Finals this year, but there is a cause for the concern in San Jose because the core of the team is old. They don't have much to do in this offseason this year, but they will have a lot of decisions to make next year as Thornton, Marleau, and Brent Burns are unrestricted free agents. So next year is the big year for San Jose. But this year they don't have to worry about a lot. This is what I would do if I were the GM for the San Jose Sharks. But first, let's take a look at the UFAs and RFAs for the San Jose Sharks. The key UFAs are Nick Spaling-Wingels, Roman Polak, Matt Tyson, and James Reimer. The key RFAs are Thomas Hertl, Brandon Dumoulin, Brian DeMelo, and Matt Nieto. The first thing I would do as the Sharks GM is to re-sign Thomas Hertl. That is a must-do thing. You have to re-sign Thomas Hertl long-term because not only is he a great fit on the top line right now, but he is also one of your future core players. I signed him to a 5-year deal worth $4.5 million per season. If he doesn't accept 4.5, I would bump it up to 5. Next, re-sign James Reimer to a 1-year deal worth $3.75 million per season. You have to load up for another year because James Reimer would give you a good option as a backup. Yeah, I understand James Reimer can make a lot of money in free agency this year with a big free agency class, but going back to San Jose would give him another opportunity to win another cup. And also re-signs Nick Spaling to a 2-year deal. Re-sign DeMelo and Nieto to 2-year deals. And as a free agent, add Dillon-Liles to a 1-year deal. So after all is said and done, the Sharks would have added Dillon-Liles, and they would have lost Linus Urbis, Roman Polak, and Matt Tyson. The first line of the Sharks would be Thomas Hertl, Joe Thornton, and Joe Pavelski. The second line would be Patrick Marleau, Logan Couture, and Jonas Donskoi. The third line would be Melker Karlsson, Chris Tierney, and Joel Ward. The fourth line will be Matt Nieto, Nick Spaling, and Tommy Wingels. The first defensive pair would be Paul Martin and Brent Burns. The second defensive pair is Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Justin Braun. The third defensive pair is Brendan Dillon and John Michael Liles. The seventh defenseman is DeMelo. The goaltenders are Martin Jones and James Reimer. So that's my armchair GM for the San Jose Sharks. And this will wrap it up for this podcast, the Armchair GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks. Next episode, I'll be the Armchair GM for the St. Louis Blues and the Tampa Bay Lightning.